I was a law school dropout. So other than my friends from high school, I started to work at the age of 20, and before I had any degree, at an insurance company. I worked hard, got promoted over and over again. I picked up my studies in the evening, and when I was 29, I got a master's degree. I had a very nice management position. I was married, and soon to become a father of our first child. It's a boy. And like many people of my generation, I thought I could achieve anything, and that every success I had was the result of me and my own efforts. Well, around that time, our business unit for life insurances got a new general director. His name was Bert, and now you all remember that because he'll be back in the story. You should also know that in life insurances, we were doing really fantastic. We were the fastest growing life insurance company in the whole country, making huge profits and doing better than any of the other units in our own company. And up till the present moment, I remember the conversation I had one day with my boss, Bert. And I asked him, how is it to be so incredibly successful? I mean, you're a national hero in our business, and you must be so proud of everything that you achieve. And the answer he gave would stay with me for the rest of my life. It would determine who I would become and how I would develop myself professionally. He said, this success isn't mine. This organization has been his for so many years. People have contributed. The tax system supports life insurances. Our market is less competitive. And we've also been lucky. If I would trade places tomorrow, he said, with my colleague from General Insurances, then he would be the winning guy, and I would have all the losses. That answer was a total shock to my system. Because every director I had known so far would take every bit of success to boost its own importance and contribution. And wouldn't I have done that too? Because that's what great leaders do, don't they? Now, Bert showed me for the first time that what I call now, every system has a direction of its own. The leader is not only leading, but sometimes the system is leading, and then the so-called leader would rather be a follower. I use the word follower as opposed to leader. Leader, followers. Followers can be citizens or employees or members. I don't mean it in a religious way. You don't have to be a believer, just a follower. And for me, it was the start of a life dedicated to discovering and developing leadership. And what the answer, what Bert said, was really touching me, because for the first time in my life, I heard humbleness in the voice of a manager. So I got fascinated about leading and following, and this small border between how you can create things and how you are always being created at the same time. It's like tomorrow's newspaper's headlines. I mean, we, all of us, you and I, we create those headlines with how we vote, how we work, how we live, fight, love, kill, play. Everything we do creates tomorrow's headlines. But those headlines, when they talk about success, danger, design, fear, fraud, hope, they also influence our next activity. Aha. So maybe life, living, creating is not just a one-way linear concept, like I plan this, and then that happens, and then I do the next thing, and then I get there. No, it's not. Because can you really plan your life? Or world peace? Or the summer holiday with the kids? No, you can't, because they are complex, interwoven things in which a lot of things will happen anyway. So if leaders do not influence as much as they think they do, how can you influence? How can you change something that also has a direction of its own? And in my 20 years as a manager and the last 15 as a consultant and university teacher, I came to this. Now, first, let go of the idea of a strict separation between leading and following. That is a totally outdated concept. They are not two separate roles. And we kind of understand that already, but we don't live it. Sure, in speech, leaders use words like giving space and trust, but they don't put it into practice. Every day they come up with more rules, compliances, procedures. Now the story here is giving trust asks for courage. On the other hand, there are employees and they want more responsibilities and self-management, yes, until they get it. And then they say, isn't this my boss's job and can I just do my work? And the story here is taking up leadership can be very scary. But the movement of unbossing is fundamental and unstoppable. Because, of course, most of us, we are leaders and we can lead our own lives, our own jobs. And this is the 21st century. We are developing ourselves into highly educated, conscious, and serious people. But something gets stuck in that movement. And I'll demonstrate that with this bicycle wheel. I brought this because I'm a road cyclist. I love to be on my bike, I love to climb mountains on my bike, I've been in the Alps, I've crossed the Himalayas on my mountain bike. And this is a fantastic system. It has a structure, there is an inside and an outside, and you have directions, top, bottom, left, and right. Now, the consequence in a system, when you choose an upper position here as a leader, that you inevitably create an under position here for your followers. And then what happens is that leaders ask their followers to move up and to take more leadership while they remain in their position. So then the system is not going to move. If you give an instruction for a movement that is not in line with the movement of the system as a whole, it won't work. Well, for a while, but in the end, it all gets back to where you started from. It won't be sustainable. So what is needed is that you ask the followers to move up to a position of more leadership, while at the same time allowing the leaders to move to a position of more followership. Now, what do we get? That's a nice equality. And you can still be the leader, and here are still your followers, but in a totally different setup. Both people, both roles developed into mature people, taking the lead, but no longer from supremacy nor dependence. And that takes us at the heart of the change. The most important growth step for leaders today is to follow. If you want to develop your capacity to lead, you have to develop your capacity to follow. And not just follow the markets or the numbers or science, and maybe not just even the law, but follow the system as a whole. Because you can't change complexity the way you plan it. Brexit, COVID, climate, you can't change it the way you want it. They are systems with their own rhythm and their own autonomy. The leader has to follow, and then lead, and then follow again. And then leadership becomes much more a cyclic thing, with ever-changing positions of leading and following, of doing something in it and just being with it. Just being with it. That is also leadership. Now, how do you do that? And the answer is by listening closely. Stephen Covey says, the biggest problem in communication is that we listen to react, not to understand. Listen to understand is what also Boston MIT's Otto Scharmer says so beautifully in his work around Theory U. Theory U is an innovative model for profound change. And Scharmer summarizes the largest part of the entire approach as observe, observe, observe. 3 times. Observe not only with your mind what it is, but observe also with your heart. What does it do to you? What feelings does it give me? And that's interesting and pretty new, including your emotions, your inner observations, your feelings as serious data for the next change. And not only in your private lives, when redecorating the living room and then ask your sweetheart, how do you feel about blue? Honey, yes. So we can do that. But no, we have to make space for the wisdom of our heart in an organizational and societal context. I'll make it very practical. How can you all do that from tomorrow on? I'll tell you. I'll tell you with great pleasure, because that's what I do. I develop leadership. And what an opportunity this afternoon with this fantastic audience. So what you can do the next time is, in any situation, observe. Observe, slow down, and just observe. Open-minded, open-hearted. So that you no longer have to ask yourself, what is it that I want to happen? But that the point arises at which there is this question, what wants to happen? What wants to happen in this project? What wants to happen in this tension, in this flow? And then not fix it, but partner with it. Follow it. More than ever, leaders have to develop their skills for empathy, vulnerability, and truly connect to another person and to themselves as well, to who they really are. It's not an easy transition to slow down in a world that values speed over depth. It's a brave act to go inside in a society that predominantly judges your outside. It takes courageous leaders and followers to tell a different story. Leaders stand for the threshold, more than ever, to change their thousands of years old habit of speaking to the situation into listening to the situation. Let yourself be informed by the situation. Let it be your next co-creative partner. Listen, lead, and allow yourself to be led. Thank you. Thank you all.